This is the most obvious abuse of power in the mainstream media going on right now. And it's actually the direct parallel with what Harry and Meghan are doing. The New York Times has offered its endorsement in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary. But it doesn't want to offer an endorsement. It's offering two endorsements. It's endorsing Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar. That's not how endorsements work. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be all things to all people. You can't be a royal and not have to do any of the royal things. Even the New York Times editorial board, no one thinks they're going to endorse Trump or anything like that, but at least make an endorsement. At least make a choice. Stop derelicting your duty. Do your job. They just picked the two women. I mean, I don't even know that they've listened to these people. Elizabeth Warren is the most grating candidate in the race, and they went for her and they went for Klobuchar. I suspect they just looked at that little hierarchy of oppression pyramid and they said, okay, well, two women, yep, there we go, check the box. I do love to, they're so in their own heads that they don't see the ironies of what they're doing. It's a very, very long editorial. You can read it if you want, or don't. Highly recommend you don't. When they get to Elizabeth Warren and why they're endorsing her in addition to Amy Klobuchar, this is the first sentence. I kid you not. The Onion couldn't have written it better. Babylon Bee couldn't have written it better. Why are they endorsing Warren? Senator Warren is a gifted storyteller. Yeah, you don't say. She tells a lot of stories. She tells stories about her DNA. She tells stories about her kids' education. She tells stories about getting fired. She tells all sorts of stories. None of them have anything to do with the truth, but she tells stories. She speaks elegantly. That's the first, the first sentence. First two sentences. Senator Warren is a gifted storyteller. She speaks elegantly of how the economic system is rigged against all the wealthiest Americans. On and on and on. It doesn't open up by saying anything she's done. It says that she spins a good yarn. She tells a good tale. Much like the New York Times, right? That's what the New York Times does too. The New York Times doesn't necessarily rely on facts. They've spread wholesale lies about President Trump, about the Russia hoax. They've spread all sorts of lies. But they spin a good yarn. They write elegantly. You know, they have very good diction and grammar. This is an absolute abuse of power. The mainstream media in this country have a lot of power. And the reason we go after them, the reason we go after the New York Times, or less so MSNBC, but occasionally we knock them too, the reason we go after mainstream media organizations like the New York Times is not because they're left-wing. I don't care that they're left-wing. I often encourage people to read, Vox.com, or even the Huffington Post, because they're clear about their point of view. They're going to present the left-wing side of the argument. I think you should be exposed to the left-wing side of the argument so that you can answer it and you can figure out why it's wrong. That's not why we oppose groups like the New York Times. The reason that the New York Times is so bad for the country is because they're so corrupt. And they're corrupt because they abuse their power. And you see it in the frivolity, the dereliction of duty in not choosing a presidential endorsement. Like saying, yeah, I endorse the Yankees and the Red Sox for the World Series. You endorse the Yankees and the Red, you got to pick one. You can't pick both of them. So they derelict their duty there. And then they derelict their duty to investigate, to look into facts, to weigh the arguments on both sides. All right, here's the deal. Help me help you. I want to continue to inform you about historical facts, current political events, religious truths, and everything that you want to know. All I need from you is for you to hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to give you all of this content. Thanks.